Explosive new claims about Trump family drama inside the West Wing from a forthcoming book, Kushner Incorporated by Vicky Ward. According to an excerpt reported by the New York Times, President Trump's daughter Ivanka told then White House advisor Gary Cohn, quote, "My dad's not a racist," after the president said both sides were to blame after white supremacists spewing hatred clashed with protesters in Charlottesville, Virginia. The book also claims the president wanted to send his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his daughter packing and back to New York. But as CNN's Kate Bennett reports, representatives for the couple dismiss the claims in this new book as completely false.
Washington buzzing today about a new book that takes a hard look at Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. In Kushner, Inc., writer Vicky Ward focuses on the inner workings of the White House power couple. Part family, part presidential confidant, Ivanka has defended her father after Trump made these infamous remarks following the deadly Charlottesville protests.
I think there's blame on both sides.
Ward says Ivanka was adamant, quote, "My dad's not a racist. He didn't mean any of it," telling then White House economic advisor Gary Cohn, who was rocked by Trump's remarks and surprised by Ivanka's response. The New York Times, in a story about the book, also saying Trump at one point wanted his daughter and son-in-law out of Washington, demanding then Chief of Staff John Kelly, quote, "Get rid of my kids, get them back to New York," Ward writes. The White House today pushing back. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders in a statement saying, quote, "It's sad, but not surprising. The media would spend time promoting a book based on shady anonymous sources and false information instead of all the incredible work Jared and Ivanka are doing for the country." Incredible work the president recently touted, falsely claiming,
My daughter's created millions of jobs. I don't know if anyone knows that, but she's created millions of jobs.
The new book also claims Ivanka has taken advantage of her position. The New York Times writing, quote, "Ms. Trump also often requested to travel on Air Force planes when it was not appropriate. When Rex Tillerson, the former Secretary of State, would deny the request, the couple would invite along a cabinet secretary, often Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, to get access to a plane." A spokesperson for Kushner's attorney released this statement to CNN, quote, "Every point that Ms. Ward mentioned in what she called her fact-checking stage was entirely false. It seems she has written a book of fiction rather than any serious attempt to get the facts. Correcting everything wrong would take too long and be pointless." A sentiment echoed last year by the first daughter herself when asked about life in Washington.
There's a level of viciousness that I was not expecting. I was not expecting the intensity of this experience, but this isn't supposed to be easy.
Sarah Sanders also claims the author originally listed this book as fiction, and the White House says her initial representation was accurate. So far, no word from Jared or Ivanka officially. Back to you, Jake.
All right, Kate Bennett, thanks so much. David Urban, let me start with you. The president, according to this book, was frustrated with Ivanka and Jared because they generated bad press. He devised a plan with his then Chief of Staff, John Kelly, to make life tough for them so that they would go back to New York City. Regardless, Jared and Ivanka, just on the facts, forget the book for a second, they've outlasted everybody. There's clearly been fights that they've had with other people within the West Wing. They have outlasted everybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, number one, I do find this fictional. There's a lot of books that are written that you see, and I note grains of truth in some of them. I think imagining the president telling John Kelly, like, let's get rid of my kids, send them back to New York. I mean, I've been around the president and Jared and Ivanka, and I can tell you that that's pure fiction and not believable whatsoever.
What do you take from this book? Well, is it a sign that loyalty is preeminent with the Trumps?
I don't think so, no. I think mediocrity is. When you're too mediocre, even for Donald Trump, you really got a problem. And of course they survived. I mean, cockroaches are going to survive nuclear war. When they took this job...
You're not calling Ivanka and Jared
family
cockroaches.
is... No, I'm talking about a separate class of species.
Okay.
But when they took this job, I thought it was an enormous mistake. I don't believe in criticizing politicians' families. They're no longer family. They're government officials. They work for me.
Right.
And so we should hold them to a high standard. And some of the stuff in here is shocking, abusing military aircraft. I mean, it's just profiting. And I know they both had difficult fathers, right? That's part of the book, apparently. Ms. Ward reports. One a criminal, the other Charlie Kushner, the New Jersey real estate developer. And so you can't excuse that in the government official, though. I don't really care if you had a bad daddy.
You know,
I do find credible, though, the part where Gary Cohn expresses frustration to Ivanka Trump. We know that he was very upset about that.
Right.
And she says, my dad's not a racist, you're getting it wrong or whatever. That does sound like what happened.
Well, it sounds like an asinine response to ridiculous comments that come from this president that have been consistent with his candidacy, consistent with his presidency. Look, I think this is what happens when the Lannisters occupy the White House. This is something that is very consistent with what we've seen throughout this family.
Just a fact check, the Lannisters always repay their debts.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Jake. Fair enough. Fair enough.
One thing.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think this is kind of ridiculous. Look, these are not public servants, okay? Like, this is not somebody who wants to fly, she wants to fly private. She wants to live the high life, and for her to try to defend her father's ridiculous comments.
Again, look, those are all.
You don't buy it.
No, I don't buy it. Look, there are a lot of books that you see grains of truth in here and there. I think this.
Why do you not buy it?
Because 220 people, like 220 people, who did they interview? Who did she interview? Like, I know a lot of people. Don't know anybody who was interviewed.
But this idea that they would invite along Treasury Secretary Mnuchin or other people so that they could use Air Force planes to travel. What do you think about that?
Well, I think to the extent that any of these things can be further confirmed as true, it's bad because it cuts against what I think has been an important part of the Trump brand in terms of Donald Trump, which is that I'm someone for the people. I'm looking out for you, that you've got these elites, and that's not how we're going to behave. What I would also say, though, is that this is why it's always dicey to mix your business and family. Because let's say that what was reported about Ivanka Trump saying that about her father in the wake of Charlottesville, let's say that happened. I mean, it's clear that his comments were hurtful, they were terrible, and having people around you that tell you, no, it's okay. If they're family, you'll listen to them, and it can prevent you from making smart choices. I think having family working with you in the White House is always dicey.
Well, it's one of the reasons why people don't often do it.